You can see here, there's the wheel which your line runs over. I get this damp down here a lot, like this, the green. An army one, a proper army one, has aerials. No guns, unfortunately. I'm using the wife's scissors, so nobody tell her please.
Right, so today we're going to talk about bite alarms, the differences and how they've really changed. So there's not massives. You do two different types of bite alarms. You have a roller wheel and you also have what they call vibration sensor. These are older style ones which are on a roller wheel, which display what is actually going on really well actually. So we have an on-off switch but no batteries, being the Asian, hence the dust on these ones. But as you can see on this wheel there's a magnet there, and what happens is when the magnet touches the other piece of metal on the inside, it creates its connection which allows it then to beep. So that gives us our roller wheel sensor. So you can also, on this style, a newer sort of style, you can see it there as well.
Similar sort of
style. This one doesn't have a speaker,
the wheel for the line.
But what happens, you can see the light flickering as it makes a connection.
Oh, do them nice and slow, we can see that flicker.
And then they generally go backwards as well.
So you get drop back bites.
Drop back bites as well. You can buy roller wheels with extra magnets in for extra sensitivity. And then this is where we can change on the newer models with the vibration sensor. So
what you could do, you could have two magnets set at, I'm going to call it 90 degrees or 180 degrees, to give you more contacts, thereby the beep is going to go beep, 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 beep. Or you can have a single magnet, so it does one rotation, just goes beep, beep, beep.
So if you were fishing a water with lots of fish and they weren't so finicky, you'd probably have it on not so sensitive.
Single paddle, I'm going to call it, as it were, yeah.
And if you wanted to fish at distance, you might be something with, because your pull of line over distance and stretch, your sensitivity is a lot less. So
that's true,
the reason the bite alarm having the other sensitivity settings.
Now, age on these ones, this one's an
age
old,
on these,
what,
these are probably, I don't know, early 90s, late 80s maybe, something like that on this. So so with the Delcom, this style, for having a receiver, so they had sounder boxes years ago. You guys will know them as receivers nowadays, but what they had was, it would clip on a bank stick, say, in your bivvy, and you'd run your wires from your bite alarm. So you'd plug into the bottom of your bite alarm. I don't know, it's not with this one actually, I've got the other setup out there. So you'd plug your wires into your bite alarm and then run the leads to the sounder box.
It's the extension, so there is no sounder in the unit at all, is there?
No, so this one still would sound because there's no off switch.
There's a speaker in there.
What we used to do was to make them quiet, was stick a piece of foam or a bit of tape over the front of the box to make it quieter. So then you'd just be on your sounder box in your bivvy. And what would be
this era, the three lights?
3 lights.
What would there be a registration for?
So you've got 3 different jack points on there, which would lead one lead to each bite alarm. So if you were very keen, you'd obviously light your colours up. So your yellow, colour coding, green, and obviously there was a red at some point in time. So when the red one goes off, the red light flashes. Yellow one, yellow light, green light, green light. Or then we moved on to slightly modern versions. We lost all of this and the wires, like we do with everything, and gone to like a wireless system, which is a Fox Micron M system, which you switch on there, so you're flashing lights, you switch on your bite alarms.
Now, I've got the small Microns, I feel. Just independent battery ones. Look, guys, so you know, we're not ramming products here, we're just telling you a wide range of different ones.
There's so many different types.
Mine came out of the charity shop, I think, with a wife, but I had a pair of these small Microns, and I still use one of them, and I find them really good. They're on, off, and volume, and that's
basic,
it. So they're basic. Do they still make that type of thing now?
Yeah, so these are still a current model. You can still buy these. It's just an older version, as you can see. They've been well used, and obviously that's on there. If we turn the volume up on our bite alarm sounder, I think our batteries might have died in that one, possibly.
Yeah, but they can see the principle of it.
So so what would happen is you switch your bite alarms on. I think I might have to reset the sounder because it's got new batteries.
With mine being a volume here, up and down, obviously on sound, you've got them out in the bank. Because I'm partially deaf in one ear, up goes the sound, and every angler in 300 yards is jumping out at 2 in the morning. So I'm not going to be flavour of the month. I realise that, but I have to hear. So would this still go off with the extension?
It will. But very minimal.
Just turn the volume
you can
down.
turn the volume down on these to such a minimal amount.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get it to. So that's not very loud. So, you know, again, if you wanted to make it super silent.
Yeah, bit of foam in there. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, bit of tape even.
Bit of tape would do it. So,
okay. And this one, is there a volume on it as well?
Yes, so that's volume up and down. So on here, as you can tell, when you turn it all the way on and then off from the volume. I need to resync this with these, unfortunately.
I've got you, yeah. But so that I could have that, say, in a bivvy quite loud.
In a bivvy, yeah, quite loud. It's not effective when it's direct to you, not everybody else.
And if I put a bit of foam over here, this is just for guys, it might help them. Put a bit of foam, a bit of tape over there, so I don't want to wake every other angle up. This light's still going to give me...
The light will still indicate.
Because we all jump out of the bivvy at 2 in the morning, fall over everything, and if without that light, I wouldn't know which rod to grab. Because I have actually struck the wrong rod. Yes, I'm sure we've all done it.
I'm very guilty of that, and any friends watching this will be laughing at me because I've been known to do it occasionally. So
it happens.
Another little tip, you will find sometimes when you're screwing your bite alarm down onto your bank stick or your buzz bar, to your, which we'll talk about on another video maybe one day, is your hangers or your slingers, whatever you're going to use, or your bobbins, is to either use keep your O-rings like new, because what happens is they squash flat, and then when you screw your bite alarms on, you might better get 2 go round to the point where you want them, and the other one will be facing to the angle or off the other way.
Every day I get it,
or another thing you can actually purchase, which Gardener Tack will do and many others, is rubber O-rings. They do a leather washer. The leather washers are better because they don't squash as flat as these do.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I do suffer from that just with my regular bank buzzers. You just have to line them up, and then I tighten them up exactly, and they're loose. You have to leave them semi-loose or over tighten them.
If you over tighten, then obviously you crack the point of cracking this up in here, which is then a bit painful. So, so many different models out there. We range at different prices. So this version is a complete silent alarm. And then you have to buy the sounder box to go with it. So if you are forgetful and don't keep your gear organised, you could forget your sounder box and then you have no noise.
This is a modern one.
This is a modern one. This is fully waterproof. You could submerge that in water, and it will not damage it in the slightest. And, you know, I'll be happy to demonstrate at some point. I would drop that in a cup of water, and I wouldn't be nervous about it one little bit.
And the box, no wired again, a wireless,
wireless
audible
system.
box.
As you can see, there is nothing on there at all with any jack plug, any system that any water can enter in that unit. So, and then you just rely on a sounder box basically for that process, which, you know, very popular, very small, especially if you like look specimen angler and you don't want a big setup. You're taking light, travelling light. I mean, feel the weight of that going. Weighs absolutely.
Barbel fishing or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
They are small, aren't they now?
They are very small.
Totally different.
So that's probably on the smaller scale of the bite alarms that are available now, but still current. We go to the slightly cheaper ranges, which really impressed me now because you get so many functions. So you get volume, tone and sensitivity on these.
Yes.
And this one is still running on a roller wheel, but it creates the magnets to connect faster when you change the sensitivity. So you get 3 settings on that, and say these are the ranges that are sub £50 if you like. So we're looking about 35 quiddish for a basic alarm there that has got all the functions on it that some of the older expensive alarms only had back in the day.
And that again, audible on the point of entry on the rod rest, no link to the bivvy.
No link, that's just a straight
buzzer like I would use. That's what I use.
Just for basic fishing. So, or you've got this style here. Okay, so another brand there again. This one is
got a lot of buttons on it.
A lot of buttons, but the price point is amazing for guys who want a little bit extra in changing different things. You've got sensitivity, tone, volume, and then this one you can actually change the colours of the LEDs to suit the colours of your bobbins or whatever you like, whereas the old styles were fixed red, blue, green, yellow, orange. So you can actually change this LEDs the colours you want. And you also get an optional extra, which people are really into these days, is snag ears. And they come
snag ears?
Yeah, so they come in with the bite alarms and they just screw in their little thread and a little bar stands up.
These are the little U parts on the outside.
So they will sit up like this. So like this has
in case the rod jumps out of that, because that's low.
As you can see on this one, the idea is the rod sits in there, and if it's left or right, harsh take.
Better to me.
Yeah, so this one has 2 prongs that come up the back that grab the rod as well if you were snag fishing. Simple battery.
Say that again. Explain snag fishing.
Snag fishing. So if you were fishing close or fishing your rods tight on your line, and when you have your rod tight on the bite alarm and it's sitting in there, when the fish is to take quite aggressively sideways, pull the rod, they
oh,
do
can
come
pop it
out the
over.
bite alarm.
Yes, yeah.
So the idea of the snag is to just give you a bit of height, so when it pulls, the rod's not just going to jump out and hit the floor, basically.
Got it. So casting straight out for guys, this is carp fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
Casting straight out, no problem.
No
but
problem.
you might want to, let's say you got the 3 rod license, blah, blah, blah. You let you fish 3, you want one in the middle,
3
one
rods.
right, one left.
Yeah.
Then that's when you need the ears on it to stop it being cranked off and pulled off.
Yeah. Just don't happen all the time, but if you're fishing quite close to snags, when people do, they fish what they call either locked up or fishing their drags tight, and you have to be straight on your rods, and it just saves you losing your rod in the water.
Yeah. So these ones, they got a good big...
A big fork on there,
to lock the rods in, so they're quite a nice one, yeah.
And then we go the other end of the scale, which everyone will have as a brand of Delkim. These are the latest range of the TXIDs. A very popular model before that was a TXI, which people will know. Much more posher, got all the functions, more than I can use, so all digital. Sounder box
motorway
receiver.
traffic lights.
Yeah, and this one runs on another system. I don't know if you can see it in there. There's a little joint in there. I don't know. You can see there's no roller wheel. So what that is like a little Y section. I'll see if we can find some in the instructions. There's a little Y piece in there that is what they call a vibration sensor. So this doesn't work on a roller wheel. It works on vibration. So you can adjust your sensitivity by vibration. I'm going to see if we can find something in here.
And that's just a trembling of the rod or the line?
The line trembling over the top of this little device sends a vibration down in through it. I don't know if you even see on the front.
I probably won't get it with the camera,
Yeah, and that just line runs it, so it's friction. So the friction running over the Y piece then gives you your indication of it beeping.
Got it, yeah.
Okay.
That's nice if you've got a lot of bream in there and you're fishing a small boil ears.
Yeah, you'll be there all night. Yeah.
All
I was hoping somewhere in there was something, but no,
not to worry. They can if they come in that tackle shop, you can go right through it.
I can go right through it. So various bite alarms starting at the old style.
Yeah.
The more modern. You know, your basic, your starter levels, as I call them, but very good and functional, which, to be honest, I fish with a lot of this range.
They still work, don't they, the old
still
stuff?
Work the same. Or if you're just really into it and you want to jazz up your gear, you've got the latest ones there.
Now, just I briefly mentioned, I did use the old Optonics, which had a paddle breaking a beam rather than a magnet making contact.
Yeah.
That type is gone now. They don't do that anymore. It's the magnet and contact.
Yeah, contact and magnet.
I've got you. Okay. What I might do is when I pop back in the office, I appreciate you doing this. If I can dig one out, I can take it apart and show them what's left of it, and show you all the corrosion on the batteries that I've left in there too long. That's the other thing.
I often, quite as most people will go, oh, my batteries have run out. What a pain. And then you think back to when you last put your batteries in your bite alarm, and it was probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I would suggest if you're not going fishing for a period of time, which we don't always gauge on when we can go, is to take your batteries out of any electronic component to stop the batteries leaking, and then you've got a damaged bite alarm. So
yeah, exactly. I've done that.
Stops all that
Use bits of silver paper to make them work and all that.
It ruins the contact.
Make a contact,
But other than that, really, if you keep your bite alarms clean, tidy,
look after themselves.
They look after themselves. So
I appreciate it, Graeme. Thank you very much. There's a few tips there. People can, come in the shop and they can go through it. And some of you guys might remember the old school. In fact, put on the comments which ones you remember, because I've used the old heron indicators years ago. Cream, and there's the wife phoning. Where are you? I'm talking to Grant, and I'm in trouble again. Grant, we'll see you next time. Maybe.
Maybe. Thanks, Graeme.
Well, some interesting old buzzers and bite indicators there that Grant showed you, as well as bringing up to date. I found in the tackle store an old small micron and a couple of what we mentioned there but we didn't show you, called Optonics. So I've got these, which I don't use, and I've used them for years and years prior to upgrading, and they did the job perfectly well. But I'll just show you the inside roughly so you can see how the circuit is sort of broken by a paddle rather than a magnet. So these ones to take apart to get the battery out. You've got a couple of screws there with bolts, which I can assure you are very, very easy to lose. So probably best not to, if you do use old stuff like this, you've got to change batteries, try not to do it on the grassy riverbank. Okay, and then you just undo a nut here. That's the nut that goes onto your holder, which then goes onto the rod rest. I'll just spin this up. I just thought it'd be a bit of interest for people. Here we go. Oh, there's a nut at the back, Graeme. That's two nuts, one undoing it and one looking at it. So here we go. There. Now I'll come in closer. This one hasn't got a battery on it, but you'll get the principle of it. Battery goes on here. Obviously not on this one, because as you see it's all corroded and the terminals aren't even connected. The wires aren't on the terminals there, but you can resolder those should you want to use them. But there you can see, about there, if I point it with a screwdriver, just there is like a light bulb, we're going to call it, a little light bulb, and the circuit goes between there and the wheel, which you can see here. There's the wheel which your line runs over, and if you watch you can see it's got a paddle on the end that breaks the circuit, so it goes beep, 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 depending on how fast it's running. But this one has there 4 paddles on it there, if you can see that. You can just pull this out like this and put 2 paddles on it, which obviously breaks the circuit twice as slow. So that was quite a good little invention, wasn't it? And it just shows you how the different, there's a circuit, look, with the bulb. There's names to it, I call it a bulb, because it's not a bulb, Graeme, but look. It just rests in there, and then it breaks the circuit. But the big problem I did find was when you change the batteries, this happens, you lose the bit of wire in there, and you have to pull this apart and resolder it and mess around, and the battery goes in there. But just thought I'd show you that one, and the other one was that small mini micron, which look, it's defunct, it's not working, but there is that rubber washer that Grant was talking about to help give you a bit of pinching there. And then what I've done prior to getting that rubber washer, I put some PTFE plumbing tape around there. Presumably that is to do exactly the same thing as the washer, that when you screw it down it pinches up nice and tight and it doesn't end up like that way or that way, you know, you want it dead straight like that, so the line's running over here. That has just a straight, well, it's just off, on. I like these, really like them, little minis. It's called a Micron M, I don't know if they still make them or not. Just go click on and then your volume, that's it. No fancy buttons, nothing else. And they were really, really good. And to be honest, for daytime fishing, I'd still use these because they're nice, small, light and effective. Can't beat hobgoblin. Now, a tip guy gave me after I bought a pair of those like thermal Wellingtons, says you can do it for ordinary rubber Wellingtons, cheaper ones, by using this closed cell foam. Well, a sponge, if you like, is open cell, I'm calling it. Closed cell is you can put this in the water, it floats, it doesn't soak water up. Could I find some that was anything but huge, great big chunky stuff? No. As soon as the man said, get closed cell foam, you look around, there's none, is there? However, I'm walking with the dog, I thought, that's blown off the lorry. It looks like closed cell foam. I go across, big long 6 foot length of it, rolled up under my arm, home. So what we're going to do is this. I've already cut them to the length of my old Wellington boots. I'm just saying this is a tip. I've now got a pair of those neoprene ones from the supermarket, cheapo ones, £25. Yes, please. I've cut it about over length there, and I'm going to put them down like this, mark around with a felt pen, and cut just under the mark around by the felt pen. I'll show you what I mean. So, although it's bad luck, according to my grandparents, don't put shoes on the table, it's such bad luck. Oh, it is, I know, I wouldn't put shoes on and leave them on there. Piece of newspaper, stop me marking anything. I've got the closed cell foam there. I'm just going to mark round here, nice and neatly, with this red marker pen. Go all the way around the outside. But because I'm marking on the outside of the boot, you've got to sort of allow a little bit for cutting inside. The other thing is, don't put the pen in at an angle, which is sort of tempting. You want to keep it as you're looking down level with it to give you an idea of the size of the rubber. There we go. And then all I do, this is a tip from one of our awesome army guys. I've already done one pair of boots and it seems to work. Whisk this around here. I'm using the wife's scissors, so nobody tell her please. You can see I've cut that, so you don't just barely see that red felt pen. Pull that back. And then inside the boot, don't forget this is the left hand one, and feed it down inside. Now, so you know, I find I bend it that way, narrow wise, and it goes through. I've done the retrim, that is much better. Let's get it on the floor, and that has turned a pair of regular, oh yeah, that's better, regular cold Wellingtons into somewhat insulated ones. Oh, now I've got thick socks on here, so I'll just wear regular socks with that. So there you go, that's just a way, and because you can use thinner pieces of foam, then that you don't have to use, so I've done sort of that thickness, you can use half of that size. There you go. So thanks to the guy on the Awesome Army has told us how to insulate the bottom of your Wellington boots, a piece of closed cell foam. These I'm going to give it these for garden work. Good tip. Well people, I know some of you out there like to know what I get up to. It involves these extremely large bags, 4 of them, with ballast in them. And what I did was, I've made over here, I had a walkway across the garden here from the garage. And it was wood, it was that decking, I had it for years, then I got brakes in it, I repaired it, and I got to here, and I had both feet up in the air, and I thought I'm going to go down, and wifey's having a knee operation, I'll have about 10 other operations. So I left the outside pieces where the balls went here, just a point of interest to make life easy. I left the outside ones, which are rotting out, just taking it apart, you can see that by the crowbar. And I thought, well, I'll leave those straight, that's about the right size, and I am filling it with ballast, and it is done then. I don't have to worry about it. I tamped it down by just tapping like you do, so it's got little ridges on it. I could have smoothed it with a float, obviously, but I've left it like that, and I'm just dismantling it. I've mixed all, I've got my own cement mixer. She hasn't come out with a bad news to see. I did actually get some inside the cement mixer, but it's quite a hard drive you've got now, but it should kill the weeds. It's heavy, and the ballast. I'll have to do something to tidy that up a bit. And over here, I've got to stain the gates properly. I get this damp down here a lot, like this, the green. So the old fence panels, as you can see, I started staining those down. I put a couple of hop-ups, just one leg there, and it's gone pretty light. Also going to pull up these levateras. They come out purple flowers. I've got to pin them right back. As you can see, they've collapsed over. Now I've made those from my own cuttings all along here. You can see, you might see in my other films, see how big they've grown? I normally cut them down, but I've left them with lots of foliage on there this year. And when they start to shoot, I'm going to start clipping them back about 2 feet here. So I lose those ones and it starts to shoot earlier on. This time of year, I muller these totally, my big pampas grasses. I've split these up from about half a dozen plants over the years. And I cut them down, but I've not cut them as low as usual because I figured the wind's going to keep my old fence there to keep all the pollution and God knows what else and noise down. But I'm going to leave the plumes up there, so I'm going to do like I've done with this one. The plumes stay up till I can snip them down. I just clear this, the grass comes, but as you can see, once they get going, goodness me, they really do give you some ground covering. Also reuse the ballast bags. After shoveling 4 tons, I'm glad to see them empty, and I put all the cuttings in there and take them to the dump. I used to burn them off, I can't be bothered now, I just take them to the recycling. You might even ask yourself what's under this big grey sheet. Yes, my son Mike has purchased a Jeep thing with no machine gun. Yes, he's purchased that knows Paul spent a very old Land Rover, an army one, a proper army one, that has aerials. No guns, unfortunately. Spare wheels, so that will be on Mike's channel coming up. It's hidden, don't tell him I've told you about it. Got a lovely big hook there, my goodness me. If I line that with my wallet, I could probably get it open. The main pampas area, I cut them right down to about 30 inches and they will all shoot again. So what I'm doing basically is tapping this gently, because there could be screws in there, and easing those 4x2s away. They actually came out, those 4x2s from my house, but look, show you down here. They've had their time, and that's when I nearly broke my neck on the wood. I thought, no, now is the time to change it before the fishing gets good. I feel it's all dry now. There's 4 tons, I think. No, 3, about 2 or 3 tons in there of ballast. So I'm going to finish tapping that out. I don't think that's too bad a job for an old boy on his own. I'm certainly not paying anybody stupid prices to do manual work that I could do myself. And I'm going to save some of those timbers. I can saw off what's left of the rubbish part, the rotted. You can see it's had its time. About 16 years they've been there. And that's the stuff that I was skidding on. The decking. Got a load of leftover ballast here, so I bag it up individually, and I bought some from my daughter's place I was working on. We've done the garden around there pretty well. I've got some 20mm shingle there. I keep that. I'll probably use a 20mm shingle for hiding over the patches down there so the wife doesn't see it. Let's see if I can get these last ones off without breaking the concrete up. Rake that level. I'm going to paint the edge of that with a green fence stain and put some extra soil in here, compost, and put some grass seed in there. That's done something for the muscles. That's the concreting done. Anyway, that same evening, I come out, check everything's all locked up, look up in the sky, I thought, is that the space station up there? What is that? Is that the International Space Station? It's really, really bright. Is it a plane? Plane's come across us. No, it's not moving. I've seen it for the last 3 nights. Anyway, I get the camera, I go out, zoom in. As I zoom in, I think, it's actually a planet. Is that Venus? Because Venus does come up very, very bright. Yes, indeed, it is Venus. And there indeed is this twinkly thing up in the sky, and that is currently, as I'm looking at that, on full zoom. Anyhow, just as a basic guide, the 2 brightest planets in the night sky are Jupiter and Venus. Both have been moving together. About 9 PM as I speak in the western sky, and wait for this, around April the 23rd, 2023, it's going to be at its peak above the horizon. It's nearly as big as Earth, the colour is yellowish, it's covered with thick carbon dioxide, atmosphere, and clouds are made up of sulfuric acid. Nice. Well, each spring, almost, seems to be about to the day in the first week in April, the first sort of sunny spell we get in April, been very rare this spring. A couple of days, I've got a bank outside, and I generally used to get what they call minor bees in there. And I hadn't seen them for ages. The sun came out, I cut some of it, and to be honest, I don't think it was any more than the next day, and hundreds of these minor bees were in there, burrowing away and digging their holes. So it just seems on this bank, literally behind where I park the cars are these miner bees. Now they come in various different types, including mason bees, leafcutter and carpenter bees. They don't seem to sting and are industrious pollinators, it says. They build these underground tunnels, and each tunnel, wait for this, is an individual. And some of the communities of individuals can run into the hundreds, maybe even thousands of tunnels. And wait for this, they can close their nest entrances after each day or even after it rains. You can actually see the tiny holes here. You might be able to see one pop down a hole in a minute. But most of these, there he goes, emerge in the spring, and the female stacks the inside of the nest hole with pollen. And apparently, this is interesting, they also line their burrows with an anti-ant repellent. There's one popping out, look. And there's another one giving them a bit of a bash. So that's what they do. So an interesting little creature, but there are loads of different ones there. And I just find it interesting that within 2 or 3 days each year, when that first of that sun comes out, that these miner bees just start, drilling these holes in this bank. And I thought, this being the hawthorn blossom that's out, it's a prime time for the hawthorn fly. I did indeed think there's some hawthorn flies dotting around up there. But when I get closer, it reveals they are indeed these miner bees that are up there, I guess after the pollen. See them in the top there? So I can see that is not the hawthorn fly that I go trout fishing with. Another interesting statement from GP. Now, I purchased a new lawnmower. The last two didn't owe me anything. I mended them with bits of string, bits of coat hanger wire. I kept them going. I changed wheels from old ones and put them onto the other one. Finally, they both expired. I thought, I cannot grumble for about 5 years out of both of them, because the wife used to do one mower and I do the other. So I bought a larger lawnmower. But when I go to pick up, they were trying to sell me this stuff called, and I'm going to have to read it, it's all new to me, it's called Alkylate petrol. Now, I've heard about the different E factors, I'm calling it, with your cheaper fuel, unleaded petrol this is, and the dearer fuel. And they say get the dearer one because it's less of the, I believe, ethanol in there, and the ethanol eats through, allegedly, gaskets, rubber seals and stuff. And I heard this obviously from the boat fishing people as well, with outboard motors. Oh my God, don't use petrol, it's too late, because I've used petrol. But anyway, it's this possibly this new ethanol change that is creating a little bit of concern for everybody. And indeed the lawnmower man was the same, or the lawnmower lady. So she tried to sell me this stuff. Okay, so they do a pre-mixed Alkylate petrol for 2-stroke machines, and an Aspen 4 it's called, which is obviously a 4-stroke Alkylate petrol for all types of 4-stroke machines. And indeed they show you pictures of a piston from a hedge trimmer and an exhaust point from a chainsaw after 350 hours, compared with the oxidisation caused from pistons and normal stuff. And very impressive. It's like being polished by Brasso or something like that. But it says it's the ideal fuel for your lawnmower. So I asked this lady, can you use this? And I asked the guy as well, can you use it in outboard motors? Should I indeed be using it in outdoor motors? He said, you can do. Obviously he said it's far better to use this Aspen Alkylate, whatever it is. I'll give you about the reduction of ash in a minute, which comes from it. It's a sort of the latest green technology, is that what you call it? Green technology. Then comes in a 5-litre can for pounds. So if I used to go sharp fishing in my boat and we're dumping almost 50 litres of fuel on a run out and back, that's going to get pretty expensive. Pretty expensive. I wouldn't be using it for one. It says a clean burning fuel. Your engine stays cleaner, resulting in less maintenance and longer engine life. And this is what he did tell me. If you have normal petrol, don't keep it in a can more than 28 days. This is for my lawnmower. I assume the same for my outboard engine. So this stuff you can keep, for it says here, fuel remains stable for up to 5 years. It's a biodegradable, very high quality synthetic oil which has a 60% renewable content, blah blah blah, ethanol free. This is what he says. I just say this is interesting, I'm just reading it. Normal pump petrol contains an amount of ethanol which is not only aggressive to machine parts, yes, this is what I've heard, you know, on the outboard scene, but absorbs moisture from the air, which increases the corrosion in the fuel system and could result in starting problems. This fuel is ethanol free and could therefore save you from an expensive repair bill. I'm just saying that. It's just something else out there. More money, obviously. Has anybody out there indeed used an Alkylate petrol, or does indeed use it regularly now? Have you noticed a difference, and more important, which petrol are you using? Because I'm not putting this stuff in my lawnmower. I know it might be better for it, but not at those prices. I just put the better quality, lower ethanol, I suppose it is, in the lawnmower, having just purchased it at no small expense. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments page what petrol you use for your outboard stroke lawnmowers. Indeed, are you worried about it? Well, I've probably told you before, sometimes I don't get a good night's sleep, and I believe it's the full moon. Don't get a good night's sleep on a full moon. And the theory I have behind that is that when we were cavemen, the full moon was the time we might possibly go out hunting, but while we're out hunting, on a moonlight night, other stuff can see us as well. I may be wrong, because the human eye is nothing like saber-toothed tiger's eye, who can virtually see in the dark anyway. But is that what makes us sleep perhaps less better on full moon nights? Or is it indeed Jupiter and Venus, they say, coming into alignment or something with other planets? It's happening literally, I think it's this April. They're lining up to do whatever they're going to do. Who knows? Anyway, sometimes if I can't sleep, mind is churning with the world's problems, I think, oh, let's go through the alphabet and make some long words up. I'm absolutely serious. If you want to lay down calm and your head's churning, you've got to get off the track of that, haven't you? So I think, what can I do? I've got one word that bothered me. In fact, that's a lie. It's 3 words. Cosmopolitan, Neapolitan, Metropolitan. Count them up. They all have a very similar number of letters, but the common denominator in there is politan. So I'm thinking metro, city, cosmo, mixed, different society, neo, ice cream. I since heard it was possibly Naples in Italy. That's fine, but where does politan come from? Cosmopolitan, metropolitan, neapolitan. Why politan? Why is that the common denominator? So, after a while I go to sleep thinking about these things, and I go, I'm so knackered I'll go to sleep anyway. I might keep you guys up awake at night, and for those who have trouble sleeping, you might never sleep at all now. What are cosmopolitan, metropolitan, neapolitan? What does politan mean? P-O-L-I-T-A-N. P-O-L-L-I-T-A-N. Listen, I'm just telling you what goes through my head at night. If it's not fish, it's aggravation and grief. So I try and calm myself down by thinking of different things and doing mental arithmetic as well. We'll come to that in another programme. People, I hope you enjoyed this. It's a real mishmash put together again. I know the last one I did last Wednesday, I really seemed to like. I can't understand it. I don't think I caught a fish in the last one and the people enjoyed it. So there's something in there for everybody, and it gets the brain going down the straight track, not deviating. That's what you want to keep on the straight and narrow. People, we'll see you in the next issue, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some fish as well. See you next time.